y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that.
G'day folks, welcome to another Brothers Weekly Wrap, proudly brought to you by ASN Cairns for all your supplement needs. At the weekend, round 7 of the Cairns District Rugby League competition saw the club travel up the hill to take on the Atherton Roosters, who were celebrating the launching of brilliant new lighting at the Atherton Junior Rugby League grounds. So a bit of a venue change from the usual showgrounds where they play, but over to the Junior Rugby League grounds in what was a very wet, cold and miserable afternoon and evening at Rugby League. Everyone rugged up and trying to stay out of that terrible weather. Kicking the afternoon off was our Kennedy's Better Home Living Colts. Good result, able to avenge their first round loss to the Roosters in a top of the table clash, coming away with a 22 points to 16 victory. Despite only having 14 players on the day, the boys really dug deep, and as I said, it was a pretty seesawing affair. It was a tight encounter, and we're able to grab that victory late in the match, and that's since elevated our Kennedy's Better Home Living Colts side into first place on the ladder in replacement of the Atherton Roosters. Moving into the Tropic Wings reserve grade clash, Atherton belied their last place position on the points table, and it was a really hard fought victory, only secured in the final moments. We were able to get away with a 22 points to 18 victory, and that cemented our spot in 4th spot and 3rd and 2nd within striking distance. So best of luck to those guys moving forward. Whilst in the NQ Petro A-grade game, again another top of the table clash, and in what was very wet, very miserable conditions. The opening 30 minutes was a real slugfest, a lot of body contact and a lot of errors caused by those conditions and that physical encounter. But Atherton, they were able to open the scoring, capitalising in the 33rd minute before going back to back with another long range effort only moments later to take a 12 points to 0 lead into the sheds at half time. Unfortunately, when we come out from the half time break, a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes in what were quite forgivable conditions for Fitzy at the back meant that Atherton went bang bang with sort of carbon copy tries, and when James Graham split our ruck defence, the competition was effectively over at 28 points to 0. Before we staged somewhat of a comeback, Broski emery-hunia and Paddy Lewis both grabbing tries in what ended up as a 34 points to 12 scoreline, I should say. We still hold first position on the ladder, that only being our first loss for the year, but it elevates Atherton into 2nd spot. Also, turning our attention to round 8, Caesar's return here to our home base, Tully Williams Park, where we take on an informed Tully across 3 grades. Their A-grade side flying under the radar, but certainly proving to be surprise packets thus far. They're certainly going to come here and be a very handy opposition, and we're going to have to be at our best if we're going to grab the points on what is Ladies' Day. Big shout out to all the women in Rugby League, whether it's actively involved as committee members, players, coaching staff, or the support network away from the paddock. So all the mums, wives, girlfriends and daughters out there. Anyone who turns up to the game, any ladies who turn up to the game this weekend dressed in pink will receive free entry also. So hopefully that means that we get plenty of pink bums on seats here this weekend as we take on Tully. Kick-off for those games, Kennedy's Better Home Living Colts will kick off at midday. The Tropic Wings reserve grade side kicking off at 1:30 p.m. before the main game. The NQ Petro A-grade side, they'll get underway at 3 p.m. All those games on Sunday here at Tully Williams Park, and fingers crossed for some great results. Until next week, go the fish.